Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first series of Think Talk. And today I have with me a wonderful fellow, which you're going to love here in just a moment. His name is Paul Finian, and he is the owner of Print Solutions, and he is located in Inglewood, New York. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. You have a great story, and I couldn't hardly wait to talk to you about what's gone on in your world, in the printing world as a whole. So, if you wouldn't mind, give a little history of yourself. I could give that for you, but I think it's going to be so much better if you give it yourself. If you could talk to us about how you became a part of printing and how it's become a part of you.
Well, I'm a second generation owner. My father and his twin brother came from the Middle East a number of years ago with the American dream to start a new life here, and so happy that they did. I mean, it's a wonderful story that they had nothing in their pockets. They got their education in American universities and got themselves into the print world, to sustain themselves and to work. And I just couldn't have two more awesome mentors, in my life to just help work me through where I am today. And
Great.
so I came into the business early '91. Vowed never to go into the print industry, and kind of landed myself in helping out the family business, and I've been creating ever since, and just very very happy with what we've done here and what we've been able to accomplish. So, kind of that's a brief background.
It's great. It's great. Now, you started. What part of the company did you start out in?
Well, I started out in the free labor of collating, probably at the age of 9. We worked ourselves up to $1 per 300 books, and when the economy went bad, it was $1 per 400 books. And probably at about the age of 12, I was going on summers to help my father in his wanting to teach work ethic to his children. So every summer, I would have to work in the family print shop, which was based in New York City. So I would go every day and basically would learn the trade, as he did when he was my age at that time. So basically at age 12, I was running a printing press,
Wow.
and just kind of ink just kind of started flowing through my blood. And so that's kind of the background of how I got into it. In the early '90s, when I was going to college, my parents took over a second company. It was a little bit more digital based because that's when technology started going digital with your copiers and your color copiers.
Mhm.
And so I came to help the family business and never got out.
Well, I can't say it's a wonderful industry to be in, and we're going to talk in a few minutes just about what you've accomplished over this period of time. I love what your core is about. Do you mind telling us why you wrote the core like you did? Of your
Um, because I wanted people to understand who we were. A lot of times, you hear the standard, we'll give you quality, service, and product, and price, and yeah, for us, it got a little bit more than that. We became a lot more passionate about producing a product that we're proud of,
right,
producing a product that our clients would never want to go anywhere else because they knew that we would give them that level of customer experience.
hmm
And so we realized that in order to achieve that, we needed to engage in what they were doing and how they would succeed. And so, kind of, our focus changed from just being, printing a letterhead or a business card or a poster to, solving, our clients' pain points. And
yeah,
we became so passionate about it that I wanted to make sure that the customer experience and engaging, we talk about creating strategic um, uh, uh, solutions for our clients, hence the name Print Solutions, of course.
yes.
And that's how that all came, kind of evolved as time went along.
Well, I love your core, and I can tell everybody from working with you and knowing you for so many years, you not only talk about it and you have it behind you there, you actually live it. And you ask that all your clients and your customers live that as well. And I just think that's wonderful. One of the things that I want to talk to you about is the hurdles that you've experienced, and I know that all printing companies, we've just had some major hurdles to overcome. And I don't know about the COVID-19 in specific. Talk about what Print Solutions, what you've done to not not put it away, but put it to the side and use that as strength for the future. Can you share with what you've done to accomplish great goals? And what I understand from you, your sales are up from last year. So if you could, I'm sure everyone would love to know how you did that at this time.
Well, first of all, it's kind of by God's grace,
Yeah.
and a lot of hard work, a lot of pivoting as to where this market was going. As COVID hit back in March of last year, like everyone else, we dropped 50% in sales for the following 3 months ensuing, and we found it time to just kind of dig in a little bit and figure out where it is that we're going, and figure out what this company needed to do, to survive a pandemic, to survive, an economy that really just kind of disappeared on us. I'm really thankful for the PPP programs. The government really, I believe, did a good job of coming in to support a lot of small businesses and just the economy as a whole. Um, but we had a lot of, I guess, irons in the fire that we needed to work on, and we had just installed a brand new press, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I think.
Mhm.
And we went live with that press in February, last week of February. We had 7 weeks of training, 3 months of installation, and somehow we were blessed with 2 weeks later having to shut down. So it really it was a gut check, as everybody's probably experiencing, where you have to really sit down and go, okay, where do we need to go? How are we going to adapt? How, this is where we're at, and we're not going to sit back and just wait for work, or wait for opportunities to come, because back in my father's day, opportunities just came. You had friends, you had today, you have to work for it. There is nothing that just falls into your lap anymore. If there are any of you that are out there that are lucky enough, congratulations. But the rest of us, we needed to figure out what we needed to do to kind of pivot. So basically, what ended up happening is we had always been dabbling with the wide format, but one of the biggest things that I experienced was during I guess during the crisis. I belong to a printing peer group, a business development peer group of peers across the country. If anybody is not involved in the peer group, I highly, highly recommend it. I learned so much from this group, and I really appreciate it. The group that I belong to is the Sid Chadwick Consulting Group. Just can't say enough about what I've learned in that process. In all our discussions, I learned from California companies, Florida companies, Midwest companies, Texas company, anywhere in the United States, what people were doing, and it just seemed like the biggest move everyone was making in the wide format. I mean, of course, if you had a cutting table, you were making face shields, left, right, and center. There are a lot of people that were able to shift their production departments into the wide format departments to help construct the face shields, and it just inspired me when I was listening to these stories of how people were putting together products that were not only able to sustain their organizations, but they were putting together products that were helping, just
Mhm.
helping the community. And
Mhm.
so I was inspired by a lot of that. So what we ended up doing is we continued fast forward after those few months that were so bad, that we did start to develop buying our own equipment. We researched a lot, and so we ended up buying a wide format hybrid printer, an Acuity from Fuji, and an Esco Kongsberg cutting table. It took a 3 or 4 month period for us to work through all that. And that kind of got us off and running to the races with our wide format division. So,
Now, the expense that I know that you and I had talked about it originally, the expense that you incurred with your wide format equipment, it wasn't as much as you originally thought it was going to be. And you're a dive in deep kind of guy, let's face that. So you were able to bundle your equipment, and a lot of groups out there and individuals that are looking to buy wide format, that bundling is an asset for you because it's like buying two cars at the same time and you get a discount. Doesn't matter where lies within the two options as long as you get that discount. And tell us a little bit about that journey that you had in the purchasing part and maybe some of those driving that you went ahead and thought, you know what, I'm going to buy a hybrid machine because number one, I want to get my wet. I want to kind of understand the marketing from my side, what the customer wants and needs. Walk through, if you can tell me that what you went through making that decisive imagination purchase.
In the past, Debbie, we had a latex HP latex printer, roll to roll,
Hmm.
and we had it for a number of years, and we got stuck a lot because a lot of the wide format that we were needing to print, we were printing on a vinyl and then adhering it to a substrate, whether it's the coroplast or the PVC. And so we were doing a two-step process. And so we realized that a lot of our work, or at least the work that we were receiving, we needed to print on rigid material. Our budgets just could not fit, a flatbed printer at this point in time. The economy's bad, and we were fortunate enough that Acuity, that's I guess sold through Fuji,
Hmm.
really they had a price point that was really reasonable into entering this space.
Hmm.
And so they have a printer that prints roll to roll and it prints substrates. And so it's a inkjet, UV inkjet, and it prints in clear, prints in white. So there we can print on acrylic, we can print on a dye bond, brushed metal. We can print. I mean, in addition to the PVC, and a vinyl. So it's been actually fantastic to be able to print directly onto the substrate, yet still have the roll to roll, and it's all kind of it's a product that does. It's one product that does the work of all of these. So we're really happy with it.
And the one thing that you and I had talked about, the great thing about buying the hybrid to get your feet wet, if you would, once you decide and you can manage it from your customer side and you need to purchase a flatbed, you're going to have a roll to roll now. You can
Mhm.
just create that into a roll to roll. And so you're going to have both options available. So you're not losing anything. You're just repurposing the large format equipment that you purchase now. So that was really smart. Now the cutter, I know that you went back and forth with a couple of different kind of units. I know that you ended up with the ESCO, and from what I understand, you're pretty content with it. It's able to do some really intricate cutting that you need for your customers. So I
Right.
think that's been a win for you as well. One of the other things that we want to talk about a little bit is maybe some people out there that they feel like they don't have enough room to be able to bring wide format in. And you were a little bit hard. You were nervous about the workaround and that sort of thing, and necessarily the workflow. Tell us about some of the things that you had to do to make room for this brand new equipment.
Mhm. Well, it was kind of a principle of shoving 2 pounds of bologna into a 1 pound bag in
Right.
our space. And of course, when I introduced it to the team that I wanted to move and open up a wide format part of our company, and basically everybody said, "You're out of your mind. There's no room. We cannot fit it." And nothing inspires me more than being told that I can't do something.
Hmm.
Um, I need to find ways to get things done. And of course, when the challenge comes that we need to find space, we weren't ready yet to expand and get a larger facility. We had just installed a multi-million-dollar press, put a concrete pad and electric and power and everything. And it just was not the right timing for us to do that. But the timing was right for us to get into wide format and bring it in house. I mean, one thing, Debbie, I didn't mention is we did have wide format business. We just subbed it out to a lot of our local vendors or partners, if you would,
Hmm.
that were very helpful for us. And But it got to a point where turnaround and keeping costs down were very important. So that's why I had decided that it was time.
Yes.
And so one of the things about the Acuity is I think its competitors have the same thing where they have the rollaway carts on the side that you do need to have the space, but you can multi purpose the space, meaning you roll your carts out when you have your substrates, and of course you roll them away when they're done. So really do have them kind of in a walkway that kind of makes the space a little tighter, but you got to get the workout, So we
Right.
worked on that. We sold a couple of old pieces of equipment that we didn't need to kind of clear out some space,
Mhm.
and then we were able to literally squeeze in the cutting table into a corner of the shop, and I couldn't be happier. I mean, we'll get into that, I'm sure, but it's been a great spend, definitely.
Well, one of the things I want to bring to everyone's attention, if you don't have wide format in your facility now, one of the things that Paul did is he tried it out for a while. He went after the business slightly, talked to his clients that he has, said, "Hey, if you've got any wide format uses, please give me a call." Now, what he did was he outsourced it. And that's a wonderful way to kind of peruse the market a little bit without purchasing the equipment first. And so he did this for about what, 6 months to a year, possibly even longer than that.
A little longer, maybe a
So
year and a half. Yep.
yeah, so he got a real feel of what his customers needed. And then he spent the money. So if anyone's out there and you're thinking about bringing wide format in, this might be a great option for you to be able to outsource it just a little while, find a vendor partner that you can use that you can depend on. Make sure you sign all the confidentiality agreements as well that goes along with it. But it's a really good testing ground for you. And thanks for sharing that with us. One of the things that I want you to kind of talk about, just I know this is a wide format segment, but I'd love for you to introduce your new press, and I know it was the first one in the United States. If you could just kind of talk about that a little bit and tell us, because it was really very intriguing to me being in wide format. You can utilize that same press to be able to print onto plastics to a certain point and be able to mass produce, whereas maybe a wide format producer, we would need to put it on our flatbeds and cut it. Well, you put it on and you can just run so many more per hour. Can you walk through that a little bit for us?
Sure. Um, so the press that we got was a Komori 37-inch LED UV technology press. Um, we were having calls for printing on plastic, printing on board, getting into the packaging. So that's kind of what drove us in moving into that. And what ended up happening is as we were getting our clients to understand what technology we had, they started asking us, "Oh, can you do wall vinyl?" I'm like, "Well, if it's 2 by 3 feet, yes."
Yeah.
And we got one of our first calls, probably a little more than a year ago, where we had a client that needed a 2 by 3 foot wall vinyl, but they needed 4,000 of them. And so we had tested some substrates, and there are a number of vendors out there just fantastic because press runs pretty much at full speed, 15,000 an hour. I mean, we weren't running 15,000 an hour, but I don't know how fast some of your wide format, if you have it, or if you're able to print on plastic on your press, but literally the run was less than a half hour, and it just blew my mind away. And that's what started me in going, wait a second, we all say wide format, and we always just think, what does this roll to roll printer do? Or what does this flatbed do?
Hmm.
Because in my world, a 2 by 3 foot piece was wide format. We had a client that was printing, I mean, right off the bat, we had a client who was printing 1,000 3 by 1 foot banners. And what we were able to do is we actually, instead of printing on a vinyl, we converted them over to a plastic substrate,
Hmm.
a 10 mil plastic substrate, and we were able to lower their costs
Hmm.
and print. And it just was it was a really successful print. And what ended up happening is, of course, as you know, with scrim, you got that pattern and
Yes.
quality is not exactly that great. And what we were able to do, you have it. We were able to. That's great. There we
Upside.
go. We printed it upside down, and so we're able to print a very clean piece. It's got a gloss UV to it.
Mm-hmm.
to help protect it. So it's been, and so we were able to convince the client to shift over because we were able to save them money, and now we print them in the thousands. So in
Nice.
yeah, so it's something that now it changes the storyline a little bit as to
Mhm.
what is wide format, what do people consider wide format. It
Yes.
comes into a little bit more of us providing solutions for what our client needs and working strategically to help create better processes. I believe we're giving them a better product, a better long lasting product, and so they were struggling also with the fact that their LED, I mean the print, the red was fading. So all of those in print that understand if you're not using a non-fade magenta yellow, if the product is in sunlight for an extended period of time, it's going to fade out, and that red was fading out. So we were able to use non-fade inks, and just that's how this all started evolving, going, wait a second, we can print wide format on a number of our digital technologies and press technologies. It was just a matter of finding out what was the right resource for the project.
And you also printed some of your small format on your digital printer as well. And I know that you had reached out to some media providers and they
Mhm.
walked through what was the best alternative for that. Let's talk about Florida. You have a Florida decal there, and I think we can talk about that. You actually ran it on your small format digital press. And the nice thing about it, you reached out to the vendor and they were able to provide you some samples. You ran some samples, you did an install, and then you made people walk over it for what, a week or two just to see if it was marred and scarred, and it passed the test. And I was just really excited about that. Walk us through that as well.
So the standard, okay, everybody has these, right? This is your standard you get. And so we were subbing these out to some of our vendors to help us out. And we hadn't, the cutting table hadn't come yet. We were still kind of in the process of thinking how we're going to work through that. And one of our vendors came up with a product which we were blown away by. Was a digital product that runs through your photocopier and digital toner based. And basically we came up with a design that was we created a square, if you would. Of course, that's a square, but we created in a diamond format to create just a little bit of a unique pattern. Everybody was having circles, and we
Mm-hmm.
created. So, of course, those of you that have already caught on by now, because then we can cut it on our cutter, a flatbed cutter. Not the flatbed cutter, but the guillotine cutter, and we were able to cut the pieces. And somehow the toner gets through. There's some kind of coating on here that's that rated for non-slip, and it just doesn't scratch off. And we were just blown away by that. And so we didn't have to laminate it. So literally run the one sheet through, cut four corners, boom, you've got a sellable product.
Yes.
And so it helped us get through that time. And now we since learned that there is a roll-to-roll version, so you can actually print on the roll-to-roll printer and not have to laminate after you run it. So
I know that was just fantastic, and I appreciated you sharing that information with me. You even sent me a sample, and I did my cut test and everything, and it was just wonderful. Paul, if I could ask you a question, when you started marketing, once you had your equipment and you started marketing it to your clients, can you kind of give us a feel? What was their method about calling you and walking with you through a project? Are they lining up now, which I think they are in some cases? You've had calls that you just didn't expect, along with some of the social media that you've pushed out. But kind of walk through that. What has your picture changed since you brought in wide format?
well, interestingly, absolutely yes. What ended up happening is we started a social at the same time of our slowdown. We started a social media push.
Hmm.
We had not been on social media. We had not been doing email blasts. We're a printing company. We print. It's,
Hmm.
why do we need to get involved in, if we're, and that was a mentality that I had, pretty much a hard mentality that I had up until the end of the year. Like I said, that COVID year has brought a lot of thinking, a lot of time to think about what we need to do. So we ended up, figuring, okay, we're going to go wide format. A lot of people are not able to come to the plant to visit. So why don't we start up some email blasts, talking about our social distancing products. So we were able to launch a new website. We were able to launch an online ordering portal to just standard products. And the funny thing is that it started conversations about other types of products utilizing wide format. We had a number of clients that are smart enough to know that we had a cutting table. And so they started asking about cutting projects, whether they were run offset, digital, or wide format. And all of a sudden it opened doors to work that we would maybe not consider wide format.
Hmm.
But again, the wide format bringing conversation to print, the print bringing conversation to email blast bringing conversation to social media, and utilizing all touch points to start talking about what it is that we can do to help the client. So in that process, we ended up, someone knew what a cutting table was, and they said, can you die cut some circles for us? So we ended up die cutting some circles, 10,000 of them actually. And it was just pretty cool to watch the technology, because we were able to start feeding them within hours of starting the project, as opposed to getting a die made and waiting for some time.
Yes.
We were able to cut some pocket folders. We were able to cut some special. I don't know if I have samples. I
Sure.
can.
Good. We want
And
to see.
it just started the process of creating a simple box, just
Yeah.
run digital, soft touch laminate on top, die cut. So the box kind of turns into this. So we started in our promo kits, or when plant tours come, we end up making these boxes. We put their name on it. It's customized so that we can then end up turning around and putting, whether it's candy or something in there. I mean, we ended up, one of our clients needed some reorders of folders, but they needed rush right away. And if you can see, we die cut a special pocket, for, this is a bigger piece. Let me back up. So it was a piece that we put together, glued up 50 of them, and had it to them, right away. So these are the kinds of things that all of a sudden, your cutting table, it's,
Hmm.
we may not say a cutting table is wide format. But again, all these projects started because you start promoting the technology that you have, and a lot of our clients are smart enough to know what's going on. So once we start presenting all the techniques that we can provide, we want to start a conversation. What can we do to help you? And it really kind of helped us. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, it did help us to push wide format, and wide format drove even more business for us. So it was great.
And it's kind of a hard question to ask right now from a profitability standpoint. And you have to pay for your equipment and everything, but are you excited that you have purchased this equipment and the streamline of revenue that you're coming in now from a different sector? It elevates what your customers feel about you. And
Mm.
now when they have a project in house, you're going to be the first one they call, because now you can print it and cut it, and you can do custom packaging. And a lot of people today, they don't want inventory. They may only need 50 boxes or 100 boxes because they know they're going to be making a shift and a change. And therefore, they don't have to pay for the die like the old days and wait 15 weeks to get it. So you're finding that your prototypes and even your soft projects are really enhancing what your customers perceive as your total production process now, and that's bringing new business to you. And I know you have plenty of legacy accounts. Are your legacy accounts proud of what you're doing, and are they bringing business to you?
Well, in the same way that the email blast and the wide format is bringing it, just again, it's the same answer, Debbie. The fact that once we start introducing new products that we're showing to our clients, then it drives sales to other parts of our business as well. So
Yeah,
they all kind of feed off of each other.
good.
Our print clients are now going, you have wide format. The people that we touch with wide format going, you have print. So they're existing. One of the best ways to gain more work is from the current clients that you have. We did a customer survey a number of years ago, And it was interesting to find out how much our clients did not realize,
Yes.
what we can do. And so sometimes the conversations that start up from, showing them these products helps, drive new business from existing clients, and that didn't know what you could do. And that's definitely the wide format right now. It's driving a lot of work that's coming our way. We produced, that simple box that we did. We ended up doing 20,000 of these, and it was all started because of a conversation of, oh, you have the cutting table,
Yeah.
and so that's why we're really happy about it.
Good. Well, at the end here, I would like to ask you, what do you perceive your 2 to 5 year plan to look like now? What do you see your future being?
Okay, that's a good question. um,
I'm good
two
for
to
that.
five, 2 to 5 years. It's a hard question to answer. Obviously, we're going to continue to try to respond to the market.
Mhm.
We're going to continue to strive to drive our growth strategies based on what our clients need. In my peer group, we have probably 10 to 15 organizations that meet, um, uh, you know, every 6 to 8 weeks.
Mhm.
And if you were to listen to each and every one company, they would probably give you a little bit of a different answer.
Mhm.
So I think it's most important to listen, or listen even better to our clients, what their needs are, what they have on their table. And that's what's kind of been driving where we're going. So, what do I foresee where the market is going? A lot of what we're working on is creating an experience for our clients. So, what we're trying to do right now, one of the things I want to show, part of the cutting table technology that we created this brochure. We call it our flip brochure, and we just kind of launched it literally a couple of days ago. And basically, it's a brochure that's die cut and glued, and basically you can rotate it. I'm sure you've seen it before. It's been out there in the market, but
Beautiful.
we're gaining again. It's with a soft touch coating and creating marketing pieces that people are talking about, or
Yes.
or they have some memory towards it. We've even gone as far as we can customize and foil, for a specific person that we're sending to. So
Mhm.
we can print these on an individual basis. So to answer your question, is we're working at trying to create pieces like this particular. This is our one of our promo pieces, and basically this is printed on a wide format on a plastic substrate. We have pieces that are routed on the bottom and the top with a light source, and you turn it on. So a lot of the things that we're doing is trying to create products and try to create a memory, or just something that they can remember. You've heard the word haptics, your touch, your feel, your sight.
Mhm.
We're printing reticulation now, which is a bubbling effect. That might be hard to show you on the screen, but we're just trying to create memories that people will remember print, and hopefully keep the piece. And as far as our 2 to 5 year strategy, my strategy is just to keep ahead of what's out there, and produce what our clients are looking for. Packaging is another area that we're moving into.
Mhm.
And of course, it all fits in with the wide format. All we're printing now, we're printing our proof for some of the larger, we're printing the proofs on the Acuity. We go to cut the piece, and again, it just all works hand in hand. And so now, also because now we started some of the wall vinyls, and
Mhm.
so now we are starting on projects now where we're bidding on projects for like a hospital right now, where we're looking to do 16 window panels, and we're also looking to work with a client right now for developing their entire interior design for their offices with the wall vinyl. So again, a lot of opportunities that are beginning to come across. We're talking about projects that are anywhere from the $5,000 to $10,000 range for us, and
Mhm.
so it's beginning to elevate what it is that we do, as opposed to that simple $15 business card that we used to do a long time ago.
It's amazing how this industry has changed.
Yeah.
Paul, thank you so much for your time today. The valuable information you gave is just it's heartwarming for me to see you continue to grow. And I assume I would ask you this question. Are you sorry you bought your wide format equipment? I have a feeling I already know the answer. But thank you
No,
for
I'm
your
very happy. I couldn't
one
be
of the things I
happier.
tell everybody is you can find Paul at printsolutions.info. And you can also call him at any time, and he's happy to help you with any projects. If you want to find out about how he produced that flip brochure, I'm sure he'd be happy to walk you through that. Thank you so much, Paul. Have a blessed day, and thank you so much for
Thank you
innovating
for the privilege.
the
I hope
Bible.
it was helpful.
You did great. Thank you so much.